it's the same old story, Gary. It's something that maybe it's not a manager's thing because it's extended from last season as well. What's been going on with Tottenham Hotspur? How can you try to summarize what we've witnessed? And again, yes, Spurs did look bright in the parts in that second half, but there was really not much to hang on to, is there, Gary?
Well, Michelle, we probably need about 2.5 hours to go through that, and we wouldn't cover even half of it in that time. Spurs weren't in the game, really. Yes, they got themselves back at 1-1, but there was maybe only that 5-minute spell before and just after they scored that they looked to compete with Newcastle. This is Spurs playing at home against a Newcastle team that have a shocking away record, and Newcastle win away from home. And the reason is because Spurs are even worse at home than Newcastle have been away. There is a deep-lying problem there, Michelle. Spurs finished 17th in the table last season. Yes, they won the Europa League, but they finished 17th in the table. And I'm telling you now, if you put it to anybody, any Spurs fan, anybody in that football club at Tottenham, would you take a 17th place finish this season? They'd say yes, because that keeps them in the Premier League. That's how dire it is at the moment. There are lots of circumstances that have arguably conspired against Spurs, but when you look at the money they spent in the summer, they strengthened. They brought in a new coach that would give them apparently more solidity. And that hasn't worked out for them. So, anything that could go wrong is going wrong. And I feel desperately sorry for Dominic Solanke up front, who's not long back from a long-term injury. He gets no service because Spurs can't keep the ball and get up the park. I thought it was a really, really good display by Newcastle. I'm going to finish on that point and let Danny Simpson say something because I'm pretty annoyed.
I mean, just how real is relegation threat at the moment? We saw the table earlier, Simo, 3 points above the bottom three, and some of these teams are really starting to pick up points. You look at Leeds, you look at West Ham. Forest is due to play yet, of course. How real is that relegation threat for Tottenham Hotspur? You didn't think it would happen because of the quality and the size of that club, but they are in a very precarious position. It could be very real.
Well, it's a real possibility. I think it's 8 wins now in the Premier League without a win, which was, I think, if I correct me wrong, it was about the 6th of December. That form alone is relegation. Is relegation form. Leeds have obviously picked up. We know West Ham obviously picked up in recent weeks. Are currently winning at Man United. Okay, Nottingham Forest, but with Nottingham Forest, you look and think Sean Dyche, he can get something out of them players, and they have still got key players fit and available. They've got a new striker now up top who scored on his debut. So you look at Spurs with the next few games, and we know now it's the Arsenal, the derby, North London derby, Arsenal. You've got Fulham, Palace, and Liverpool away. Obviously, Gary's not happy too now, not too happy, but I look at them fixtures with the squad that they've got, and I just don't know where they're going to get any points from in the next few fixtures. They've got a little bit of a break now, whether they can get some players back in the next, I think it's 12 days or so until the North London derby. But at the moment, it looks really, really poor from a Spurs point of view, and I'd be worried if I was a fan.
I mean, 12 days before the North London derby, if they were to make a change, would this be a good time, Gary?
I'm not one for pushing managers out the door too quickly. I don't think managers get given long enough and enough opportunity. Would it be a good time? You could argue it's an opportunity. So often when there's an international break, for example, that's when you'll see a manager or two get sacked because there's a window for the new guy to come in and do some work with the squad, admittedly with players away on international duty. But the reason that Spurs don't now play for something like 12 days is because they've been knocked out of the FA Cup, and this coming weekend is the FA Cup weekend, so there's no Premier League fixtures. You could argue that there is a window of opportunity if the Spurs decision makers, the board, want to make a change. But you can only make a change if you've got something lined up to replace or to put a structure in place that you believe is going to do better with what you've got than the existing head coach. I just think that, talk about being, backed into a corner. Spurs are in a corner. You look right, you look left, you look straight ahead, and there doesn't seem to be particularly a route out of it at the moment, Michelle. And normally I'm the optimist, and I'm struggling at the moment.